There. Good morning. Today I want to talk about sheep. Yes, we had sheep. And I like sheep. Okay, and what you're looking at here is probably hard to tell, but this is quilt batting. And we had quite a bit of our wool made into battings, and we sold it at quilt shops. And I have a few left that I'm still using when I make a quilt. And this is queen size. And I don't make queen size anymore, but I cut pieces off of it. I can get maybe, I don't know how many quilts out of it, depending on the size I make. And the only drawback that I have, I can't machine quilt it. Now, maybe somebody else could figure out how, but for me the loft is too thick, but it, hand quilt's wonderful. It's like going through a cloud, and so I just really appreciate that. And they're nice and warm, and some of the things I've done with them have been made under quilts. When we lived where it was really cold weather, I put the under quilts, and actually they were comforters because I tied those. If it's tied, it's a comforter. If it's hand quilted or machine stitched, if it has stitching on it, it's a quilt, and that's what makes one from the other. But anyway, these under quilts were wonderful in the wintertime, and they're actually supposed to be better than down comforters, and you put them underneath on top of your mattress, and it's sleeping on a warm cloud. So anyway, I want to tell you just a little bit. We were in our 50s when we got sheep, and we were living on this acreage, and next door to us a man had four, I think they were all old sheep, and they were like on a ballpark, and he'd go out in the morning, and at breakfast time I could watch him go out, feed his sheep, and then the rest of the day they were just there on this dirt ballpark. And over on our side, even though our ground wasn't very good, for some reason, they had at one time taken the topsoil off of our property. In fact, you could walk up to the neighbors' fences, and there was always this, they were up here, we were down here, where they had scraped it off. But we still had weeds coming in, stuff growing, and anyway, Tom went over and talked to him about his sheep, and he found out he had really bought them just to sell again. So we asked if we could buy them, and he said yes you could, but there was one sick and you had to take them all or nothing. So we did, and in the first week it died. So we had 3 sheep left, and they're all pregnant now, and this was going to be all new to us. We had neither one of us any experience with sheep. So the first one finally came due, and she went into labor, and she prolapsed. Tom called the vet. Oh, he said, that's pretty common, that's okay. She's not worth much. I'm busy right now. Call me if she gets worse. Well, of course she got worse, and Tom called, and he said, well, I'm busy now. Just take her up to the fence, get her up on the fence with her hind legs up on the fence, and have your wife push everything back in. Well, wife, for one thing, was working at the Bon Marché, and when I come home, Tom tells me this, no way am I gonna even know how to do it. But I changed real quick, and that day I had had a white blouse on. I didn't change that, but I got into my jeans, went out, and started helping, and Tom called again. And the vet this time said, just shoot her. And Tom said, but she's going to have these lambs. What about the lambs? And he said, oh, cut her open, take the lambs out. Well, we couldn't do that. So he said, do you want some help? Well, duh, yeah. We've been calling all day. And so he comes out, and he's a bit lubricated, but we're glad to see him no matter how he is. But he's able to help us. He shoots her, but before he does, he said, now, if there's more than one lamb, I'm going to hand one to you. You've got to swing it around and start it to breathe and get it going. So when he cut it open, there's 2 lambs. So Tom takes this lamb, and he is very dedicated to do it right. And he swings it around. Well, as it comes around, it splats blood and birth stuff all over the front of my blouse. So then they get the lambs over on my side of the fence. I've got a towel ready to dry them off. So I'm drying them off and whatnot. And then they're taking the carcass out, and as they get the carcass of the ewe up to the fence, they plop her up on the fence, and down comes and splats stuff all over the back of my blouse. So front and back, I'm pretty bloody and a little on the smelly side, and just look like I've been in a war. And the vet was able to get some of that first milk out, the colostrum, to feed the babies. And so he said, get a bottle, start feeding the babies, and he was able to tell me how to take care of them. But I had to run to the store, and you don't change. I mean, this is a crisis here. So I run up, get the bottles, and everybody is sort of, giving me lots of space, sort of backing away from this strange, bloody lady. And I get through, I get home, and I bottle feed those babies. It's lamb chop and mutton head. And that was the beginning of our sheep. And I'll tell you a little bit more about sheep tomorrow, maybe. So have a good day. And tonight, don't forget to count sheep when you go to bed, and you'll sleep very well.